Good evening, YouTube. This is Rancic from RCC Entertainment, bringing you my very first comic book review, guys. Now, this is Saban's Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon, written by Kyle Higgins, artist Giuseppe Cafaro, and colorist Marcelo Costa, with special guest consultant J.C. David Frank, the man himself, the OG Green Ranger, and many different colors that he put on. But yes, guys, I'm super excited to talk about this story because as fans, we wanted a story like this. We wanted a story like this, and I was super excited when Kyle Higgins, who did an amazing job on Nightwing, basically wanted to write this, and after he was done with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he wanted to do something special, so he did Soul of the Dragon, and I'm super excited to see the later years of Tommy Oliver, to see what his life will be after being a Power Ranger. Will he settle down with either Kimberly or Kat? Will he have a kid? These are all the answers that we were pretty much trying to comprehend in our mindset as fans, because we will always write, there's a lot of people out there who write fan fiction and will always say, oh my god, Tommy chose Kimberly and had like 3 kids, and and they were Power Rangers later on, and blah blah blah, but we wanted something. We want someone to, someone who's established. And even, I love the fan-made stuff. Don't get me wrong. Fabulous writing. But I wanted, to see someone, actually publish it and actually, write something that's awesome about Tommy. So Kyle Higgins did it, and I'm super excited. So this Soul of the Dragon pretty much takes place in the later years of Tommy Oliver, where it starts off him basically, he's a teacher still. But the whole story takes place while he's already getting fired. Like the board that he's in of teachers, this whole department is being dismantled because they're trying to save money. The people that he works for is trying to save money, so they basically dismantled his whole department. So eventually, him and Kat, Kat's also a teacher, but Kat's taking a trip to Triforia. She's a teacher as well, and she's being offered a trip to Triforia to teach kids there. So it's gonna be very interesting to see that. And this is where we find out that Tommy chose Kat. And Kimberly never came back. It was Kat all the way. And it's a beautiful love story. So going back to the review. So she goes to Triforia. We find out that, Tommy has a son called JJ. And JJ is an SPD recruit. So he's an SPD officer who's basically trying to be like an officer, I guess, trying to be like, some type of being a hero, like in his own right. And at this point, Tommy is suffering from a lot of pain in his back. He's suffering a lot of pain in his back, and we find out that he has a spinal nerve pinched by a receptor coil. And apparently it's a car accident, but in reality is not, because we see a giant splash page of the Green Ranger getting knocked back by a monster, and the monster slashing his back really hard. So that must have damaged his back. He's telling the doctors it was a car accident because, secret identity, hello. He didn't want to tell nobody his secret identity then. So what happened was, his whole story is basically so intriguing, because now we also find out that JJ apparently, because, I'm trying to not trying to bore you guys as much as possible, but I'm trying to tell you the story in 5 minutes or so. So Nara, who's a friend of JJ, tells J.C. David Frank, I call him J.C. David Frank, but Tommy basically, tells Tommy that JJ been quit SPD. And because basically JJ was supposed to go to meet Tommy at a band place. He was going to a concert. And Tommy at first was like, don't go, it's too late, it's like 10 o'clock, what are you doing? And JJ's like, oh, I'm gonna go meet some friends, and that's it. So they go have their fun, he's gonna have his fun, and Tommy didn't think nothing of it. But in reality, he got kidnapped by these thugs from a gang war, apparently. So Anara, who's a friend of JJ, tells him that he actually quit SPD and he's been missing for a couple of weeks now. So that already got Tommy's brain rolling, like, oh my god, my son's in danger, but I'm not gonna jump the gun. I'm gonna figure out what's happening. Maybe he's somewhere, SPD keeps him busy, apparently. That's what he said in the comic. So he goes and talks to Kat. Kat tells him he's probably busy, nothing seriously. But he's gonna go talk to Sky. So, as you know, guys, Sky is the SPD Blue Ranger in the original series. But he got promoted, I believe, because I didn't finish all FSPD, but I think he got promoted to Red Ranger. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think he got upgraded to Red Ranger, and then he eventually became like a higher up. I think he took Commander Groger. Right now, I think he's also like the commander of SPD now in the comics now. So he goes to Sky, tells Sky, listen, my son is missing. I don't know what's going on. Like, what's going on? Like, and then, Sky was kind of like trying to oh, why, what's going on? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, one of JJ's friends, Anara, came up to me and told me about this whole thing, that he actually quit. And, now Sky's being trying to say, okay, what did she tell you? So now Tommy's pissed because Tommy knows something's wrong. So he tells Sky, what's going on with my son? Tell me everything about my son right now. Like, what's happening? What's really happening here? Like, where is my son? So Sky tells him, listen, I don't know. Okay, he did quit. I should have told you. I thought he told you, and it was a big padaco right there. So Tommy said, listen, I'm gonna go find my son on my own. Thank you though, blah blah blah. And pretty much, we find out the origin of the Master Morpher. The Master Morpher was a device that had a lot of crystal frequency it's called a crystal frequency transducer to quickly cycle multiple power coins. Apparently, I was just trying to rephrasing from the comic itself from Anara, because Anara tells Tommy that that's what it is, and then basically she says it might be either created by Cranston, which we already know who that is, Billy from the original series, Blue Ranger, or by Fairweather. And that's from Lightspeed Rescue, I believe. One of the characters from Lightspeed Rescue. I don't remember her name. I think Dr. Angela Fairweather, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But definitely, so she thinks that it was one of them two that created the device for Tommy to create the Master Morpher, and he could cycle through his power coins. But the bad thing is that there's a malfunction in the Morpher, and it's actually destroying his power coins. So he can only transform in a certain rotation that's already rotated in. So technically, whatever the thing is set on, it's already stuck in that rotation, and it cannot go to a different rotation. He cannot rotate from a different power set. So he has to go in the order that it's been put. So he can only go, any order. Like, let's say, for example, he went Zeo. The order is Zeo, Mighty Morphin Green, Mighty Morphin White, Dino Black, and let's say Turbo's the last one. That's set right there, and he can only transform in that exact same order. The bad thing is, if he transforms in that order, that's good. But he can only use the transformation once, and after that, the coin is destroyed, and he'll lose his powers. So he had to use his power coins very wisely. He used several. The first one he used was the Dino Black, and basically, it's pretty much one of my favorites is Dino Thunder Black. He used that one first to find a couple of gang members because he went to a bar to try to find information of a person called Maurice, who's in charge of one of the gangs apparently, and I think he was in charge of the Iron Raptors, if I'm correct. And then apparently they all work for some character called the Witch. Now the Witch is very essential because when you think of the Witch, you think in your head, oh my god, they're gonna really put Rita Repulsa as like a gang leader, like Master or something like that. I was like, oh my goodness, I hope not. But that's where it went. It went to that type of situation where, he had to transform and save his life, beat up a couple of bad guys. And then eventually they told him, where, Maurice is and where the Witch is. So they go down there and they find out that JJ has been selling power crystals, some sort of power crystals, to some of the bad guys. And at this point, we're thinking, is JJ a villain now? Like, did he become dark? Is he being mind controlled? What's going on here? And Tommy's like, oh my goodness, I gotta go down there. So I don't know, but apparently some of the bad guys spotted him in the top of the roof or whatever the image was with an arrow. So he had to transform to Turbo Red. So he transformed to Turbo Red. He shifted to Turbo. He beat up those people. Now he's like, his son is exposed. He's trying to like talk to his son out. His son's beating him up, and the building falls on Tommy, and then JJ leaves. The story continues when we find out that Finster, because of the Zordon wave in the original in Space series, thank you, Andros, even though I miss Zordon, made automatically a lot of the villains good guys. You know, so we find out that Finster's actually been a great good guy. You know, he's a good guy now. He's working with, you know, he's not working with Tommy, but he's basically someone who Tommy could go to for help if needed. So he goes up to him, tells him, listen, I know you don't deal with magic anymore, but my son's missing. And, I see he's messing with power crystals. This dropped off from one of the bad guys. He was using this type of, like, power crystal. And he says, oh, my goodness, this is kind of similar to that power of you-know-who. So now we're thinking, okay, it is Weird Repulsa at the end. So then after that, we go. He tells, thank you, Finster, blah, blah, blah. He moves. He tries to find his son. He actually does find his son at some point. And now we found out that the witch is not really the witch. It's actually Scorpina. And Scorpina comes out of nowhere and tries to tell him, listen, I was stuck in this dimension. I was stuck in this dimension by a demon called Talos. And Talos wants to get a big sacrifice. He told me, if you give me a big sacrifice, I will give you much more power than Rita Repulsa. And then Scorpina said, okay, I'm going to do that. And the only way I could do that is by sacrificing the original Green Ranger's son, JJ. And they grabbed JJ, because right now JJ got exposed, and now he got, at this point, people are saying, okay, why did JJ, I thought JJ was a bad guy. Really, JJ wasn't a bad guy, because when Tommy turned into Zero Ranger 5 Red, we find out that JJ was actually super deep undercover, and he was really an SPD still agent, but he was super deep undercover. So now Tommy blew his cover, and now he feels bad. So now we're all stuck. Now the witch wants to, of course, Scorpina wants to, hurt both of them. So Zero Ranger 5 Red transforms. Tommy transforms Zero Ranger 5, gets a little beat up, but then he also beats up a lot of other people. And then, they kidnap JJ. They try to sacrifice JJ. Tommy finds out where Scorpina is, transforms into White Ranger power, transforms into White Ranger, fights the best of his ability, and now Talos comes back out and wants to, tells Scorpina, I thought you were supposed to give me a sacrifice. You're supposed to give me a sacrifice. You don't give me a sacrifice, so now I'm going to take you. So now I take Scorpina, and then, but before that happened, Tommy threw the Master Morpher to his son, and his son transformed into the Green Ranger. So now the Dragon Ranger power chose to be with his son. JJ defeats Scorpina, and the world is once saved again. JJ hugs his dad, tells him I'm sorry, I should have told you everything, and pretty much that's how it goes. The story was really, really intriguing. It was fantastic. We find out that there's a special Green Ranger in the back. Pretty much JJ takes I think Bridges' spot. I think from SPD Green, the original Green. So he basically becomes a Green Ranger, but with his dad's shield, the Dragon Shield. So he becomes the SPD Green Dragon Ranger, which is pretty fantastic. It's an original design by Kyle Higgins and the crew. But it's fantastic, guys. This story was amazing. It was fantastic. It was great writing, great art. I enjoyed the art. It was gritty. I liked it. It kind of shows the street life a little bit, like all these gangs and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, they went there. But I liked it. It was really awesome, and I can't wait to read more of the Power Rangers lineup and see more interesting takes and stories. Also, guys, please bear with me. This is my first comic book review. So if anybody wants to critique me, definitely critique me in the comments. Maybe I can improve much better with better critique. And thank you so much, guys. But please do like, share, subscribe, guys, for more content in the channel, guys. Thank you so much. And as always, take care of yourselves.